Hi, I'm Jules Payne. I'm here at Ajna Yoga, and I'm going to guide you through a practice that is yoga therapy for your feet. Now, for this practice, in terms of props, here's what you might need. I'm sitting on a yellow chip foam block. You can sit on anything that gives you comfort. I also have nearby a thicker block. You can use a cushion if you haven't got a block. I've got a folded blanket. You can use a folded towel if you don't have a yoga blanket. And then I've got a bolster. And for a bolster, again, you can take a large cushion and use that instead. Importantly, I have my massage ball. Now, this is a spiky massage ball that we use here at Ajna. You can also use, if you've got it, a tennis ball or any other ball that has a little bit of give to it. So not a golf ball. Now, let's begin our practice seated. I'm cross-legged. You can sit however feels good for you. So it might even be with feet out in front or even knees bent a little bit like this. Now, as you find your comfortable seat, what I'd like you to do first is just notice where your weight is. And what I mean by that is, are you leaned forward a little bit? I know I am. Is it possible, for example, to lean back a little bit so you start feeling the rooting through your sitting bones? Those are the pointy bones of the bottom, the ischial tuberosities. If you're unsure, sometimes it's helpful even just to take the hand underneath the buttock, let a little bit of the flesh kind of descend into the hand, or you can even sweep it back a little bit. And then do the same on the other side. And then just start to rock a little bit. So a little forward, a little back, a little sideways. And notice, where is it that I can balance my body? So really balancing the weight of the upper body on the rooting of your sitting bones. And then you can perhaps invite the eyes to close if that feels comfortable for you. Hands can rest wherever you like, perhaps palms face down, and here an intention to ground. Or perhaps palms face up with an intention to be open to receptivity. I'm going to have my palms down today. And let's just begin our practice first by grounding ourselves with the breath. So we'll breathe together here. Take a nice full breath in through your nose. And then exhale out the mouth. You can sigh, letting go. Again, inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. And one more full breath, just like that. Start now to invite the breath just in and out of the nostrils. And as you breathe softly, fully here, in and out of the nostrils, notice, is it possible to soften through the jaw, through the shoulders? Is it possible to spend a moment just really noticing, drawing awareness to the breath? So all I mean by that is noticing as you inhale, you might even say, I am breathing in. And as you exhale, you might say, I am breathing out. I am breathing in. I am breathing out. This is a way for us to just very softly, lovingly guide the mind to a place of close to single-minded concentration. So really normal for the mind to wander, that's fine. But notice, can you just gently, lovingly guide it back to awareness of breath? You might even notice here on the inhale how it is that the ribs expand, the belly expands a little bit. And how on the exhale, the ribs release and the belly releases in a little bit. So noticing as I breathe in, quality of expansion. As I breathe out, quality of gathering, returning to center. Now, as you continue to focus on your breath, just like that, breathing in. Just like that, breathing out. I invite you now to begin to set a samkalpa, an intention for your practice today. Now, the samkalpa is like a seed that we can plant in our minds, in our hearts. Sometimes it's helpful to work with the same samkalpa, so we can really tend to it, just as we would a seed that's beginning to grow in the spring. So as we draw our awareness to that samkalpa, to that intention, we can allow it to develop, to grow, to blossom. Now, to set your samkalpa, ask yourself this question: what quality would I like to invite into my practice today? What quality would I like to cultivate in this practice today? Now, today the answer might be grounding, or perhaps self-compassion, maybe acceptance, or perhaps love, maybe something else. Now, whatever answer for you begins to rise up, to bubble up, begin to set that as your samkalpa, as your intention for practice today. So see that word or that phrase in your mind's eye. Now let's begin to invite in the feeling of that samkalpa through the body. Now we'll do that together with the breath. So please first exhale, release out all the breath. Once again, you can breathe out the mouth. And then inhale, draw that samkalpa through. Exhale out the mouth, clearing some space, letting go. Again, inhale, draw that samkalpa through. Exhale out the mouth. And one more full breath, just like that. Beautiful. So with your samkalpa, your intention set for a practice today, let's just start very slowly to come back and to bring body into movement. So you might start just by wiggling the fingers a little bit, letting the head just gently tilt from side to side. In your own time, you can invite the eyes open. Good. And let's come into a little bit of a stretch. So I've had my legs crossed for a while, so I'm just going to give them a little bit of a stretch out, a little bit of a shake. And then what I can do is come back. So I was cross-legged with one leg forward. I'm just going to switch that so I come onto what might be my sort of non-dominant side. And let's do a little release, beginning with shoulders. Let's inhale, shoulders up. Exhale, release them back and down. Just moving with breath. Inhale, shoulders up. That's it. Exhale, back and down. And two more. Inhaling up. Exhaling back and down. One more. Inhaling up. Good. Exhaling down. Let's bring fingertips to the shoulders, and we'll see if we can move from the elbows. So we'll inhale, elbows forward. Exhale, elbows out to the side, back and down. Let's do that again. Inhale, elbows forward. Exhale, out to the side, back and down, and one more. Inhale, forward. Exhale, out to the side, and back and down. Let's just reverse that. So we inhale, back. Exhale, forward and down. Let's do three. Inhale, back. Exhale, forward and down. One more. Inhale, up and forward and down. Good. Okay, just give a little bit of a shake. So our focus today is on the feet. So I'd like to head right to the feet right now. And we're going to do a little bit of a foot massage just to get the feet woken up. So what I'm doing is I'm coming down to my right foot. If you've got a sock on, you can go ahead and take your socks off now. And here's what we're going to do. Go ahead and see if you can find, so imagine where you have here your toe knuckles. So go ahead and curl your toes so you can find your toe knuckles. Now corresponding in the sole of the foot, we have what we might call our toe mounds. So they're a little bit softer. Now what I'm going to do is use my thumbs just to massage into these toe mounds. So if you can see that, just using my thumbs to massage into my toe mounds. Now what you can do as you massage into your toe mounds, what you might find is, these little toe knuckles become a little bit more prominent. They become a little bit more prominent. So it's a way that we can really start to find a little bit more mobility in the feet, particularly when we spend a lot of time in our shoes. We lose some of that wonderful mobility that we had, say, when we were kids. And the bones, these large bones of the foot, the metatarsals, it's okay to have like a little bit of movement in them. I'm just going to show you, keep massaging. I'll show you my model foot. So here you might be able to see here these larger bones, these metatarsals. Down here they connect to the toe bones. And it's in here that we can get this nice little massage really as we do that little massage through the base of those toe mounds. And the toe mounds is really just where those metatarsals come to meet with the toes. So It's okay if you feel a little bit of movement here. It's okay to feel a little bit of movement, a little bit of mobility in the toes themselves. Now, what also might feel fantastic is taking those thumbs right to the inner arch, the medial arch of the foot. And you can just do a little pressing down here. I know for me that feels delightful. Now, here's the next thing we're going to do on this foot. Taking the opposite hand, so I've got left hand, right foot. And what I'm going to do is take baby finger into baby toe, and then next, and then next, and then next. Now, sometimes the toes are a little bit resistant here, so be really respectful of what your toes are saying. Don't try and jam them down. Just let them go as far as comfortable. And then what you're going to do here is a little bit of resistance. So I want you to imagine that your toes could press into your fingers. We're going to do that on the exhale. So inhale. And then exhale, press in. Good. Again, inhale. Exhale, press in. And then one more inhale. And exhale, press in. Good. Now, from here, I'm going to do a little bit of ankle rotation. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to bring my leg up. And then keeping the fingers in the toes, just start to draw a little circle. Now, I notice when I do this, there's some cracking happening in my ankle. Know that that's also fine. There's lots of bones that come together around the joints. And in the foot, there's 26 bones in each foot, 33 joints, so lots of possible movement. Go ahead and roll in the other direction. And if you can, match the movement with breath. So half the circle's the inhale. The other half is the exhale. That's it. And then do a little pointing. So plantar flexion, pointing the foot down. And then do a little pressing back. We'll do that again. Pointing. Say that's the inhale. Exhale, pressing back. And then again, just roll around. Great. Now, release that out. Bring the legs out in front of you. And then just take a little look, even do a little pointing and flexing, and notice if there's any difference between the side that you just worked with and the other side. So what I notice is the side that I just worked with, there's a lot more even circulation in there. It's just sort of a little healthier in there. And a little bit more mobility. So idea that we can move inside the foot a bit more. Let's go to the other side. So we'll give that a turn as well. Now, I'm taking my left foot. I'm going to start again, taking my thumbs, finding those mounds so they're a little bit more padded, and just massaging in there. So I might see a little bit of those toe knuckles. So if I press, say, between the big toe and the second toe, right in there, we'll start to see these knuckles come up a little bit more. And as I find that little walk along the mounds, I can have a little bit more movement here in those large bones of the foot, those metatarsal bones. And then from there, where it might feel good to walk to, is down to the inner arch, the medial arch of the foot. Sometimes it's tender. For me, I have naturally quite flat feet or flat arches, so I do find that I'm a little tender here. For those of us who have flatter arches, it's really important that we spend time working with our feet. Flat arches can contribute to things like back pain, knee pain, hip pain. Because really, truly, the feet are the foundation for the body. Okay, so after we've done this, now I'm going to take my opposite hand, so the right hand, baby finger into baby toe, and then the next, and the next, and the next. And again, if there's resistance, don't force it. Be very respectful, consensual with your toes. And then what we'll do first here is imagine that the toes themselves could squeeze into the finger. And we'll do that on the exhale. So let's inhale. And then exhale, squeeze in. Again, inhale. Exhale and squeeze in. Good, and one more, inhale. Exhale and squeeze in. Good. So you have that activity, yes, that strength in the toes. Now, we'll do a little bit of rotation. So you can keep the foot as it is, or you can lift it up. And then on the inhale, half the circle. The exhale, the other half. And knowing again, it's really common, really normal to feel or to hear some cracking movement in the ankle. That's fine. Half the circle's the inhale, the other half is the exhale. And then go ahead and switch directions. You can go ahead and switch directions. Yeah. Moving with breath, that's it. And then we can do a little pointing, so pointing, plantar flexion. And then extending, flexing, dorsiflexion. So we'll just go back and forth, pointing and flexing the foot. And again, knowing it's fine if we have some of that noise, some of that cracking coming up. And then just do a few more little rolls around. Yeah, excellent, good. Okay, let that go. And then once again, you can stretch out the feet. Do a little pointing and flexing. Notice what's there. Okay, great. We're going to continue with our feet here, but let's first come through a little hands and knees work. So as you're ready, now I'm going to take my foam chip block, place it out to the side. As you're ready, come on to hands and knees. I have fairly sensitive, kind of bony knees, so I really like to pad underneath them. So I'm going to take my blanket. Coming on to hands and knees, if you find that wrists are tender, you can always instead do fingertips, fists, or even forearms. Now, let's just move the spine a little bit. So first, with an exhale, just really round the spine. Head can drop down. And then on the inhale, tailbone tilts up, shoulders roll back, gaze is forward. So just moving with breath. So good for warming up the spine. And you can notice, okay, today, do I have the tops of the feet on the ground? How does that feel? And then what would happen if I change? So I have my toes tucked under. How does that feel? You might do a few of these spinal waves with the toes tucked under, giving a little stretch for the soles of the feet. And you might do a few with the tops of the feet onto the ground, getting that little stretch for the tops of the feet. Good, lovely. Okay, now we're going to come into a little child's pose here, and just to release the spine a bit more. So the knees can come a little wider if you want. You can bring your bum over your heels. I like to use a little support for my head, so I'm grabbing my block. And then here, just bring the head down to where it feels comfortable. Arms can come either forward. I like to have them back often at the beginning, palms face up. And then let's just draw our awareness into the feet here. So you can feel like perhaps you can spread the toes. And then do a little press through the top of the foot. Just a little press through the top of the foot. So you can continue to feel just a little bit of activity there in the ankles. Now let's take a few more full breaths, finding that quality of expansion on inhale, then quality of gathering on exhale. You might even let the head roll a bit from side to side, or if you had your head turned in one direction, you can turn it in the other direction now. Let's please take 2 more full breaths, 2 more full breaths. And 1 more breath. Excellent. Now, what I'd like you to do, please, is roll yourself back up. Now, if you do have a foam chip block or a folded towel, or even a cushion, I want you to put it, please, in the back of your mat. Now, what this is going to be for is for you to press your heels into, as we come into down dog, really great way to press, to stretch into the backs of the legs and the soles of the feet. So come onto your hands and your knees, please. Tuck your toes under, and then just adjust your block. So I want to have it so, my heels will be able to press into that. Now I lift myself up just a little bit so my knees are hovering, and then I really slide my bum back. So what I'm going to do is just press my block back a bit more. And then as I start to straighten out the legs, yes, that's when I can find the heels press into that block or that blanket. And then I can sort of pedal my legs. So sometimes we call this walking the dog. Bending one knee, pressing the opposite heel towards the ground, and then to the other side. So you can feel that lovely stretch through the backs of the legs. For many of us, again, that have those kind of flatter arches, what we'll find is the calves are often really tight. This is a great way to get into those calves as you really press down the heels into that block. Now, let's just do another couple from side to side. You can really let your hips move from side to side as you do. Good, take another breath. Excellent. Now,
What I'd like you to do is walk hands to feet or feet to hands. I'm going to meet myself in the middle. Take my blanket to the side. Now, coming into standing forward fold, knees are slightly bent. Hands can come to the thighs. Good. And then let's just slowly, slowly bring ourselves all the way up. So you can come up however you like. As you come up, go ahead, reach your arms up over your head. Find that nice, tall extension. Good. And then exhale, hands come to the heart. Okay. Now we're going to do a little bit more foot massage. Just taking my block off. Please grab your massage ball, whatever you've got, and we'll go through a gentle massage through the foot. Let's just start first by rolling the ball up and down. Good, and start with whichever foot you want here. Now, what I'd like you to do is find the heel bone. So I'm going to take my toes on the ground. Ball goes underneath the heel bone. This is our calcaneus bone. It's really great for building bone density, to put pressure on that calcaneus bone. Take one hand on top of the other. We'll take 3 breaths here. So take a full inhale. And then on your exhale, press down. Good. Again, inhale. And exhale, press down. Good. One more breath. Inhale. And exhale. Now roll on up. Bring that ball into the center of the foot. Now, often this is where we have some of that information, as we call it, like pain. So be gentle. No, you can always put more weight on the other foot if you find yourself kind of tensing up in reaction to that. Now, we're going to take the massage ball to the inner arch of the foot. So just gently pressing down into the inner arch of the foot. And we'll take 3 breaths here. So inhaling. And exhaling, and inhaling, and exhaling. And then take a little roll on up, come into your beautiful toe knuckles, and we'll do a little roll from side to side. Taking the ball underneath, say your right foot, just do a little roll up and down. And as you're doing that little roll up and down, see if you can start to direct that massage ball right into the heel bone, our calcaneus bone. This is where we build our bone density from when we put pressure on it. So toes can be on the ground. Go ahead, take one hand on top of the other, and we'll press down 3 times. So we inhale. And exhale to press down. Again, inhale. Exhale to press down. And just one more like that. Inhale. And exhale. Go ahead, roll on up. Take that massage ball underneath the middle of the foot. Now, for many of us, this is where we have some of our information, and what I really mean by that is extra sensitivity or pain. Know that if it becomes a little bit uncomfortable or you find yourself kind of tensing up from that discomfort, you can put more weight on the opposite foot. Now let's take that massage ball more or less to the inner arch of the foot, and we'll do 3 breaths there. So inhaling and exhaling to press down. Again, inhaling. Good. Exhale to press down. And one more. Great. Now we're going to come into our toe knuckles that we started with. So when we were seated. So what I want you to do is imagine that the toes themselves could kind of wrap around the front of the ball. And then as you do a little roll from side to side, you can maybe see 1 or 2, maybe even 3 of your toe knuckles. So really common if they're a little shy, don't worry about that. Just doing your very, very best to do a little roll from side to side. Now, if you feel comfortable with it, you can actually bend forward and then take your thumb now to the top of the foot and do that little press down through between each of the toe knuckles and their corresponding large foot bone and large metatarsal bone. So you get that extra little massage for the top of the foot. Now, however you are, let's just take another breath in and out, another breath in and out. Good. Now we're going to come into a lunge. So just roll that ball towards the front of your mat. Your right foot is forward, left knee comes down onto the ground. Go ahead and pad underneath that left knee if it's uncomfortable. Now take your massage ball underneath the right toes. Gently roll the ball forward so the toes point up. Now be gentle if you have any arthritis in your toes. They don't need to point up too much. And let's take 3 full breaths here. So we inhale and exhale. Good. Again, inhale and exhale. And one more breath.
Okay, roll the ball off to the side, pause. We're going to bring ourselves back up to standing so you can press down through the top of your thigh. Back toes are tucked under. Give yourself a little press to come up. Good, excellent. And then as you come back up to standing, just take a little moment to notice how it feels from side to side. So the side that you worked with, the side that you didn't. You might even try bringing your arms up over your head and notice, does it feel different even here from side to side? When we do that massage, that release for the foot, it actually releases the whole line of fascia or connective tissue along the whole back line of the body. So up the backs of the legs and to the back, all the way up to the neck. Now let's come to the other side. So ball rolls up and down that opposite foot, the left foot. And then we'll start to investigate pressing in through the heel. So the toes can be on the ground. Here, and we'll take 3 full breaths, taking an inhale. Exhale to press down. Again, inhale. And exhale, press down. One more like that. Inhale. And exhale. Go ahead, roll on up. Take the ball underneath the middle part of the foot. And remembering here, often it's a little extra tender. You can always put more weight into the opposite leg. And we'll find that inner, that medial arch of the foot. Lean into that. Take our 3 breaths here. So inhaling and exhaling. And again, inhaling. That's it. And exhale. One more breath. Okay. Now we'll take that ball underneath the toe knuckles. We can do a little side to side motion as the toes kind of wrap over, kind of grip the front of the ball. So you can see maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 toe knuckles. If it's comfortable for you to lean forward, you can lean forward and then just take your thumb into that space between the toe knuckles, remembering that you're following that line really in between also those large foot bones, those metatarsal bones. You can have a little turn through each. Take another breath in and out. Good. Now, however you are, from here, we're going to transition into that lunge. So we can bring the ball to the side. Now, this time, it'll be our left foot forward, right knee down onto the ground. So I'm just going to move the other way. Now, as I bring my left foot forward, I again take that ball underneath the toes, and then I just gently roll the ball forwards. So if you have arthritis, just be gentle. Arthritis toes, be gentle how high those toes point up. And let's take 3 breaths here. And again. Good, one more breath. Take that ball off to the side. We're done with it for now. Take the hands onto that front thigh. Back toes are tucked under. Press down onto the front thigh. Push yourself up. Good. Excellent. Now, let's clear off the mat. Come up towards the top of the mat and then just roll your shoulders back and down. Great. Now, so we've been working with ways to release the soles of the feet first, so that fascia, that connective tissue in the foot. Now we're going to work with activating, so turning on the musculature of the foot and the lower leg. I'm going to start first with a little exercise that's all about trying to see, can you drag the mat towards you? So what I'm doing here, if you can see, is I'm just using my toes to try and drag the mat towards me. What this does, you might even feel it, it starts to activate not only the musculature that goes down into the toes, but that actually originates in the lower part of the leg. So do that a few times. You can even use, if you got your blanket or your towel nearby, you can use that to pick up. And then from there, we're going to come into our second exercise, which is the heel scoot. So here's what I mean by that. Toes are down. Keep that grip of the toes. Feel like you could kind of scoot your heel a little closer to the toes. So you sort of dome the foot. And then you can release the toes down. Try that again. Scooting forward and down. And then again, scooting forward and down. And one more. Good. And then go ahead, release the foot. Come back, notice how that feels, probably a little bit more active, a little stronger on that side. Go to the other side. So starting first with your little, trying to pick up. You can even take my blanket here And it can be quite gratifying with a blanket because you can really see, yes, that you can really sort of pick it up. Yeah. Do that a few more times. Good. I'll bring my blanket to the side for the next one for this heel scoots. So toes stay down, feel that grip, and then feel like the heel can kind of scoot a little forward. Do that a few times. It's okay if it doesn't actually go forward. It happens with practice, but really starting to activate, yes, musculature through foot, lower leg. Good. Bring your feet back together. Give them a little bit of a shake out. Excellent. Wonderful. Now, from here, with these feet beautifully active, we'll move now into our standing poses. So let's start with a warrior A pose. Now we'll bring our right foot forward, left foot back. Right foot forward, left foot back. Go ahead and just bend into that front knee. Now, as you do, feel like you could, again, use the toes just to kind of gather the mat a little bit, front toes. Almost like the front heel could scoot a little bit there. Great. Now, another thing we can work with here is a feeling of pressing the mat in and a feeling of pressing the mat out. So let's just try that. Imagine your front foot and your back foot could crinkle the mat, almost like you're trying to bring them a little closer towards each other. What you'll feel is quite a bit of activity in the thighs, yes? Maybe even a little activity in your low back. So what I want you to notice, squeeze with all your effort, notice 100%, and then see, can you back off just a little bit, like maybe to 60 or 70%. And if anybody felt some discomfort in their low back, that should dissipate from that. So we have that opportunity to squeeze in. Notice how that is. You might feel a lot of activity in the inner thigh, the adductors. Let's try the opposite now. Opposite is as if you're trying to spread the mat wider, like that front foot presses forward, that back foot presses back. So really, really active, charge to about 100% of effort. Good. And then reduce to about 60 to 70%. Good. Okay. Now what we'll do is kind of combine them a little bit together. So what I mean by that is, as you do a little bit of a squeezing in, that's going to be your inhale. And then as you do a little pressing out, that's going to be your exhale. And we can actually use the arms to help us with that. So let's feel like we could squeeze in, press the arms in, and then feel like you could press the mat out. Arms come out. So inhaling, squeeze everything in. Exhale, press out. Now let's try about 60 to 70% of effort. Inhale, squeeze in, really active in the feet. Exhale, press out. Let's do 3 more. Inhale, feel that squeezing into center. Exhale, pressing out. 2 more. Inhale, squeezing in. That's it. Exhale, press out. Beautiful. Okay, release the arms down. And what I want you to do, please, is shorten your stance. You can bring that front foot back or back foot forward. Feel again a little bit of a tugging of the toes. A little bit of that scooting of the heel. You're going to come into a balance of warrior C. So what I mean by that is we're just tipping forward onto the back tippy toes. Now keep that front foot really, really active. As you're ready, go ahead and lift up that back leg. And here you can even take your arms to the side or hands onto the hips. Take another full breath, really strong your foundation. Good. On your exhale, bring your knee forward and then press the foot down. Okay, beautiful work. Let's do the other side. So give it a little bit of a shake first. You've been working hard, particularly that front right leg was working really hard. Let's do the other side. So left foot forward, right foot back, bend into the front knee. So you know you're going to be here for a while, so you could even be perhaps a little bit less ambitious with your length if you want. Go a little shorter in your stance. And then as you bend into that front knee, take a bit more weight into your back heel, just so that it's even. Let's start that toe tugging, so really starting to activate into the toes. And then let's just have a little bit of that heel tugging too. So really activating, particularly front leg. Now let's experiment with that squeezing in. So imagining that you could crinkle the mat into the center. There's your inhale. And then like you could press it out. There's your exhale. Let's just try that one more time before we add that all in. Squeeze in. Now notice, can you be about 60% of effort? And then pressing out, still, again, about 60% of effort. Okay, now let's go with the arms. So on the inhale, we squeeze in, really find that strength. Exhale and press out. Inhale, squeeze in. Feel like you could crinkle that mat. Exhale, press out. Let's do 3 more. So inhaling to squeeze in. Exhale, press out. Beautiful. 2 more. Inhale, squeeze in. Exhale, press out. Good. 1 more, please. Inhale, squeeze in. That's it. And exhale, press out. Good. Okay, arms are down. Let's again shorten the stance. You can bring front foot back or back foot forward. Feel again that little tugging of toes, little scooting of heel. So feel that all the way up through the thigh. We're doing our warrior C balance for a few breaths. As you're ready, coming on to the tippy toes, lifting up that back leg. Good, full breath in here. Full breath out. Let's do 1 more. Full breath in and full breath out. And we'll bring that back knee forward and then press it all the way down. Press the foot down. Good. Give it a little bit of a shake. Excellent. So you've got this real activity now, perhaps feeling that foundation as you root in through the feet and lift those arches, how you can really feel that strength feed up through the legs. Let's try warrior B. So right foot's forward, left foot is back. So I have my right foot turned out. My left foot, I can either align the outer edge of the foot with the back of the mat or turn it in a little bit. Sometimes that feels nicer on the low back. Bend into your front knee. Now, let's again just feel how it is to feel a little tugging of toes, a little tugging of heels. So we have that little activity first. And then imagine from this warrior B stance how it is to squeeze into the center. Good, and how it is to press out. Good, now about 60% of effort this time, squeezing into center. And then pressing out. Okay, let's do it with the arms. So as you're ready, inhale, squeeze into center. Exhale, press out. Again, inhale, squeeze into center, lots of activity. Exhale, press out. Good, 3 more. Inhale, squeeze in. Exhale, press out. Good, inhale, squeeze in. Exhale, press out. 1 more. Inhale, squeeze in. Exhale, press out, and stay. Now, relax a bit of that effort. Relax the shoulders. If you want, you can look over your front middle finger. Take another full breath in. That's it. Another full breath out. Go ahead and release the arms down. Switch to your other side. So left foot points forward. Right foot either aligned to the outer edge of your mat or turned in slightly. Bend into your front knee. Okay, so a nice comfortable stance for you. Let's have a little activity like you're tugging the toes. A little activity like you're tugging those heels. And then also feel that squeezing in. So you feel that nice activity perhaps in those inner thighs. There's your inhale. And then pressing out like you could spread the mat out. There's your exhale. Let's do that with the arms now. So inhaling, squeezing in. Exhaling, pressing out. Let's try that again. Inhale, squeeze in. Exhale, press out. 3 more. Inhale. And exhale. 2 more. Inhale. Good. Exhale. That's it. Last one. Inhale. And then exhale out. Go ahead and release the shoulders down. Maybe look over that front middle finger if you want. Take another full breath in here. Another full breath out. Beautiful. Go ahead and release your arms down. You can heel toe those feet back together. Give a little bit of a shake out. Excellent. So your feet have been working really hard here. Let's just give them a little bit of a release. Excellent. Now, I'd like to come into a standing balance. We'll do dancer pose. It's really great for stretching the tops of the feet. Now, I'm going to use here, this is my support. You could also use a wall if you want, or a chair or a couch, whatever is nearby you. Now, I'm going to be lifting up my right foot. So my left foot is my standing foot. So as a standing foot, first I just want to activate it. Have that little tugging at the toes, little kind of scooting of the heel, so we can feel that arch lift up really well. Come on to the tippy toes. And then I'm going to reach back for the ankle, or if I can, the top of the foot, so just around where the toes are. You can also use a belt around the foot if you can't comfortably reach back. Now, if you can get that top of the foot, it's great for feeling that little stretch of the top of the foot as you press the kneecap down. We can also get a little stretch of the shoulder by pressing back a little bit. So knee comes slightly back. And then pressing the hand into the foot into the hand. So let's do that on the exhale. Inhale. And then exhale, find a little bit of that resistance. Let's do that 3 more times. Inhale. Exhale, pressing in. Good, 1 more. Inhale. And exhale, press back. If balance feels okay, maybe you lift that arm off. Take another breath. Good, release the foot down. Give a little bit of a shake. Okay, we'll come on to the other side. So right foot now is your standing foot. So you can have that, those toes get a little active, the heel maybe get a little active. Now, reaching back so you can get the top, perhaps, of the left foot or around the ankle, or you're always welcome to use a belt. Now, as we find that little bit of support, so having the little catch of the wall or a table. Now let's do kneecap faces down, take an inhale. On your exhale, press hand into foot, foot into hand. A little stretch for the shoulder too. Inhale. Exhale, finding that resistance. 2 more. Let's inhale. Good. Exhale. Beautiful. Last one. Let's inhale and exhale. And if it feels okay, you can play with balance, maybe taking that hand off. Maybe pull the leg back a little bit more. Take 1 more breath in and out. Good. Release the foot. Come all the way down. Give it a little bit of a shake. Excellent work. Okay, we're going to do 1 more balancing pose to find that strength in the feet. This time it's tree pose. We're going to do it without support today. Of course, if you want support, you can just hang on to whatever's nearby. Now, let's start first this time with the right foot on the ground. So spread the toes, have a little tug of the heels, have almost like the toe and the toes and the heel can tug in towards each other. Now left knee, let's bring that out to the side so you're just on your tippy toe. So again, find that little activity of your standing foot. Now you have options here. Often it's nice to bring the foot up to, say, lower part of the leg or even higher. Today I'm going to keep my toes on the ground just so I can have that feeling of pressing in towards each other. So you go to where you want. You might bring hands to the heart. You might even feel good to bring the arms up or out to the side. Now, however you are, find a drishti, a gazing point, something that's not going to move. To often look down in front of me. And then think of that standing foot, that right foot. Can you feel that gentle tug of the toes? Gentle tug of the heel. Take 1 more breath. That's it. Go ahead, release the arms down. Release the feet. Great. So a standing balance never really matters if you lift up the other leg. Really what we're thinking of is the integrity of that standing leg. Let's try it on the other side. So left foot now is your standing foot. Right foot goes out to the side. Now let's find that little tugging of the toes, that little tug of the heel. Notice how that lifts you up a little taller. Even this hip here, rather than going out to the side, you can draw that in. Beautiful. Now find about 60 to 70% of effort. Find the position of the arms. That feels good for you. Maybe hands at the heart. Maybe arms out to the side. Finding that lovely drishti, that gaze point. You can have a nice steady gaze. Let's take 3 more breaths here. And again. Last breath. Beautiful. Release the arms down. You can bring that foot back. Give a little bit of a shake out. Lovely. Okay, so we've done lots for strengthening legs, strengthening feet. What I'd like to do is find our way back into downward facing dog so we can again have that lovely stretch out through the legs. So I'm going to set up my block towards the back of the mat. Let's flow ourselves down here. So we'll come right up towards the top of the mat. Hands come to the heart. So we're coming through a sun salutation. Now on the inhale, reach the arms up, maybe gaze up. Exhale, dive forward, come into a standing forward fold. Inhale up part way. Exhale, come on back down. Now from here, I'd like you to please find hands and knees. So come on down to hands and knees once again. And then see if you can once again get your heels right so that if you were pressing back, they would be on that block. So it might take a little bit of experimentation to find that. Hands nice and grippy into the mat so you find that lovely shoulder support. Lean your weight back, lift up your heels, lift up your knees, and then as you're ready, press back. So once again, you can walk your dog, bending one knee, pressing the opposite heel towards the ground. You can also just feel how it is to really press those heels back so you get a lovely, lovely length through the whole back line of the body. So just like when we were rolling out the feet, I was talking about how that releases the back line from the backs of the legs, the low back, all the way up to the neck. You can find that also perhaps in down dog. Good. Let's take here another full breath in and out. Another full breath in and out. Good. Wonderful. Now from here, we're going to make our way either onto hands and knees or into a plank position. So your choice. I'm going to choose hands, knees. But if you want to go into plank, just lifting those knees up. Take another breath. And let's come all the way down onto our tummy. So coming all the way down onto the tummy. We're going to work with our back bends here. We haven't done much back bending yet. So cobra, elbows are bent, hands come underneath the shoulders. Start with the head down. Now spread your toes and feel the tops of the feet press down onto the ground. So you've pressed down through the tops of the feet. You might feel a little activity go up through the leg. Also feel as if the heels could press back. So you still have that lovely activity through the feet. Now coming into cobra. On the inhale, just start to lift the chest up. Gaze stays down. I'm going to do 3 of these. Exhale, lower yourself back down. Let's move with breath. So again, inhaling up. And exhaling down. Now this time let's hold. So let's inhale up. On the exhale, come partway down and pause. Now squeeze those elbows in and back. Lift the palms up. Gaze stays down. So back of the neck is really, really long. If you want a little bit more effort to come into this, you can also bring your arms forward, kind of like you're Superman, super person, flying through the air. You can also maybe lift the legs if that feels good. Another thing you can do here is on the inhale, bring the elbows back. On the exhale, fly forward. You can do that 2 more times. Inhale, bring the elbows back. Still floating. Exhale, shoot them forward. Last time, inhale. And exhale. Good. Let's bring those elbows back, palms back down onto the ground, legs back down onto the ground. Come all the way back, down. And then from here, let's push up through hands and knees and find our child's pose. So once again, those knees can go wide. You might crisscross the arms to support the head, or you might use your block as you did before. Another nice option that might feel good is a little bit of a twist, and I'll just lead you through that. If you'd like to take that option, you can lift your body up just a little bit. Now what we're going to do is keep our right arm forward and then just bring that left arm underneath. So a little, sometimes this is called thread the needle. And then if it feels like my head can't comfortably come down onto the ground, you can just bend your right arm so you have a little bit of a cushion support. This gives you a nice little, perhaps, release out through that left shoulder. Nice full breath here. And another breath. Good. One more. If you're doing that twist, you can bring the arms back. Bring the opposite arm, so right arm now goes underneath that left. Little twist. Maybe taking that left arm to support the head. Taking your time here to breathe fully. Finding the expansion into the ribs on the inhale. And then gathering in on the exhale. Let's take 2 more breaths. And 1 more breath. Good. Slowly, please undo and lift yourself up. Okay. Now we're going to take our massage ball again. And this time, what we're going to do is a little massage for the calf muscles. Sometimes they get really tight, and because the muscles of the foot, it's really the tendons of the feet, are connected into the lower leg, it can help to release the lower leg. When we do that, it can also help to release the foot. So what I'm going to do is grab my foam chip block again, just so I can sit on it. You can sit on whatever you like. And the other thing I'm going to do is just lift up, I'll do my right side first, lift up my pants a little bit, just so I can kind of expose my calf, so you can do this as well. Now, what we want to do first is allow the calf itself to get really jiggly, really wobbly. So you lift it up, just give it a good old wobble. So sometimes we're not that happy about jiggly bits, but this is a fantastic way, even just this, to release the calf. So we do that first. Now, the calf muscle that we're going to get into is a deep calf muscle that's called the soleus muscle, and it's kind of hidden, it's underneath the more superficial, closer to the surface muscle of the gastroc. And that gastroc, the one that's closer to the surface, is two-headed. So what it means is that you can kind of get in there if you find the center. I'm going to show you my leg. You don't need to bring your leg up this high. I'm going to take my first 2 fingers, just slide it down, really the center of the back of the calf. And then you'll start to feel, can you feel that in there? It's almost like 2 sides of the muscle go to the side, and this is your gastroc. That tender bit inside that you're with here, that's your soleus. Take your ball around the thickest, so the belly, the widest part of the muscle. Place that ball underneath. And for many of us, as we do that, there's a real, quite a bit of sensation. So first, just breathe fully. Notice that you are in control of how much pressure you put there. So you can bend forward to have more. You can lean back and lift the leg up a bit to have less. You can also do a little roll from side to side. And I quite like doing that little roll from side to side, as long as I can breathe fully. So taking time. Now, it can also be okay to do a little rolling up and down. So you can just sort of move from the hip to let that leg roll up and down. Another thing you can work with is pointing and flexing. You'll notice that that just sort of helps you get in there maybe a little bit more. Let's do another breath or 2, however you're exploring this. Okay, take the ball out. You can unexpose the leg if you like. So I'm going to bring my pants back down. And then just give a little shake and notice how it feels from side to side. So certainly when I do this, what I really notice is like my whole right side feels a little bit more relaxed. It's quite interesting when we get into the calf. Now, coming on to the other side, so left, giving that nice little shake. So we want it to be really just as loose as possible to begin with, so we can get kind of little love slaps there. And then we want to find that soleus, so that deeper muscle of the calf. And the way we do that is taking your first 2 fingers and then just slide it along the center of the calf. And you'll start to feel that 2 head of the gastroc sort of separate a little bit. It's not a dangerous thing. It's made like that. It's fine. And then as you find that really sensitive bit in the belly, so the thickest part of the muscle, take your massage ball, place it underneath, and then once again you can do a little roll from side to side. Maybe a little pointing and flexing. Maybe, it's possible on this side it's a lot more sensitive than it was on the first side. So even just sitting and breathing can be quite enough. I like to draw a little circle. And then you can maybe Just from that movement from the hip, do a little rolling up and down. You really want to keep the majority of the pressure around that sort of biggest, that thickest part of the muscle. Yeah, and if it feels okay, you can do a little bending forward, maybe a bit of pointing and flexing. Make sure you're breathing really fully here. Great. Great. Okay, let's take the ball out. You can bring your pant, your trouser leg back down. And then just spend a little moment to notice, how does this feel from side to side? Maybe a little bit more release through the leg, particularly after that strength work we've been working with today. Now let's come onto the back. We're going to be on our back for the rest of practice. Now, what I'd like you to please have nearby is your thick block or your bolster. We'll be using that for back bend, so either thick block or bolster nearby. And then go ahead, just lie all the way down. You can just lie all the way down. And then as you lie down, it might feel good to draw knees in towards the chest, maybe do a little massage for the low back. Now, we're coming into a supported back bend. So for that, it's quite nice to put something underneath the sacrum. That's really the back of the pelvis, just below the waist. I like to use often a thick block. You can also use a bolster if you like, a slightly higher back bend. So starting with knees bent, feet flat on the floor. Feel that little gentle rooting through the feet, so little toe tugging, little heel tugging. Then lift the bum up. Slide the support of your choice underneath. So I'm using here a block, but I can show you with a bolster as well. The bolster, similar kind of thing. You're just placing it underneath. So something that you can sink into that'll really support the back of the pelvis. So if it's a little higher in your low back area, just move it down so that it's to your pelvis. So first we just see, can we breathe fully? Can we come back to that feeling of expansion? Inhale. And release, exhale. And something that might feel great after the footwork that we've been doing today is bringing the legs up. So you can bring one or both legs up. I'm going to bring both of my legs up today. This is a really great way to end a practice. It can also be a really nice position to come to at the end of the day. So when the legs are inverted, just help to relieve the tired legs that might be there. It can also really help with circulation. I like to do a little pointing and flexing, so you might experiment with that. And another thing that you might try is legs wide and back together. So really what I'm saying is just perhaps even close your eyes and see what would feel good for me here. Legs just straight, maybe one leg forward, one leg back. Do what feels good. We'll take about, say, 5 or 6 more breaths. About 5 or 6 more breaths here. Two more breaths, please. Now, if both those legs are up, I'm going to bring them down one at a time. So I'm going to start with my right leg. Just slowly bring it down. Heel rests on the ground. And I bend the other leg. That heel comes down. And important we spend a little bit of time this back bend before coming all the way down. So here, let's just activate the feet again. So feel that little toe tugging, that little heel tugging. And notice as you tug the heel, it almost feels a little bit like the bum wants to lift up. So go ahead and follow that. Lift up your bum so you're able then to remove the support. Bring it off to the side. Come all the way back down. Good. Now here we can again draw the knees in towards the chest. give a little bit of a hug, a little bit of a roll. Great. I'm just going to move my bolster out of the way down here to come into now a little twist. So I'm going to start by bringing my knees over to the right. So I'm just walking my body over to the left side of the mat. And then knees come up and towards the chest and go over to the right. Now here I'm going to let my opposite arm, that's my left arm, come down, and I'm in this sort of cactus arm, so the elbow's bent. Back of the hand is on the ground. I might do that on the other side as well. Sometimes when we come into this twist, particularly after we've been doing a back bend, it feels a little bit like the throat gets a little open here, like the head tilts up. So if you're finding that like I am, you can grab your blanket support or a little cushion just to support underneath that head a bit more. Let's find full breath, feeling that inhale, feeling that exhale. 2 or 3 more breaths like that. Good, 1 more breath. Good. Now to come back up to center, what I'm going to do first is just bring my arms down so I can find them pressed down into the mat, just as a releasing point, a grounding point. Press down into the heels, press into the inner knees, lift yourself up. Scoot your body over to the other side. Knees come up on a diagonal, coming down onto that left side. And then once again, you can choose your arm position. So you might do those cactus arms. If that feels like a little bit much, other option is just to bring one hand, say that right hand, to the rib cage or to the hip. And then let's come back to breath. So we're starting to slow ourselves down now. Starting to edge toward our rest. Finding our awareness of inhale. Awareness of exhale. Let's take 2 more full breaths. Now, the arms are up. You might bring first the palms down, feeling that rooting, pressing in. Press in through the inner knees towards each other. Lift yourself up. Great. Now, from here, we're just going to come into our rest. So I'm going to see if I can, with my feet, bring my bolster back up. So I can just place it underneath my knees. I'm going to bring my head support just a little bit lower now that I'm on my back. Often we find when we're turned a little to the side, it's helpful to have head support a little higher. So on our back doesn't need to be quite as high often. Now, get as comfy and as cozy as you can. So you might even roll to the side, lift yourself up, grab a hoodie or a blanket or socks to get really comfy and cozy. So you can lie on your back like I am for rest, but know that there's other places you can always come to. Sometimes legs up against the wall is wonderful, or curled over to the side is wonderful. So let's get comfy and cozy. Feel some support. So much of when we work with the feet, we're really working on our foundation. We're working on rooting, finding that connection to the earth. Now let's see as we enter our rest, is it possible to really sort of feel that support of the earth from below? So here's what I mean by that. Take a full inhale. On your exhale, breathe out the mouth. See if you can sink down a little more. Again, inhale. And exhale. Another perhaps audible breath like that. Well, once again, just find awareness of breath. That soft inhale and exhale through the nostrils. Perhaps even just reminding ourselves how it would be to focus on the breath. I am breathing in I am breathing out. I am breathing in. I am breathing out. Being open to the possibility of finding a slightly deeper release or feeling of relaxation. It's absolutely fine if the mind is still active. It's its job to think, to be occupied. But helpful things might be, can I direct my awareness to the breath, breathing in, breathing out? Or can I perhaps direct my awareness through the body? Noticing, can I relax the jaw a little bit? Softening upper jaw from lower jaw. Can I relax the shoulders a little bit? Rolling shoulders down and away from the ears. Can I feel with each exhale a leaning downward into that support of the earth below? Can I feel full breath in, full breath out? Let's take another few full breaths here. Then let's start to gradually, really softly, bring in some awareness. Might even start with the feet. Little squeeze into the toes, little release of the toes. Perhaps doing that a few times, you might get some nice cricks and cracks. Maybe the hands join. Then from now there, you might rotate ankles, rotate wrists again, getting perhaps some of those nice little cricks and cracks, just a little bit of motion in those joints. And then from there, you might reach arms up over the head. You might go for a stretch and a yawn as you press out through the heels. Feel the stretch in the low back. Then you might draw those knees in towards your chest just for a little hug. Now, let's transition really slowly. So first, just roll off to the side. Take a couple of breaths there. So I'm just supporting my head with my arms, with my hands. And then pressing down through the top palm, push yourself up. I'm going to sit on my bolster. You can sit on whatever feels good. We can just close our practice together. We'll do that with hands at the heart. Eyes can softly close. We'll close with 3 shared breaths. So please first exhale, just release out the breath, letting go. And then inhale, breathe deep into the space of the heart. Exhale out the mouth. Again, inhale into the heart. Exhale out the mouth. One more breath, just like that. Please softly bow your head over your fingertips. Here, symbolically releasing the thoughts of the mind into the space of the heart. So infusing all thoughts with the qualities of the heart: love, compassion, and forgiveness. Let's take another breath, lifting the heart to the mind. Then as you exhale, slowly peel open your eyes. Softly lift your gaze. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me. Thank you.